I'm Puan Anita Abu Bakar, the president and founder of MIASA, the Mental Illness Awareness and Support Association. I am also the chairman of the National Advocacy of Mental Health Association, or NAMA. Thank you very much for the question. When we talk about the healthcare system on the overall, I don't think I'm able to comment. I'm a firm believer in staying in our own lanes, so allow me to comment on the mental health care space at least. So what we've looked at and what we've observed throughout the years doing this work is a lot of people are currently struggling, especially when we talk about, the pandemic hit. I think a lot of people have this realization or perception that once we've declared, being in this endemic phase, that a lot of people are not struggling or, everything is back to normal. But this is actually in contrary. We are looking at an over-reliance in the biomedical model when we talk about mental health issues, because we're looking at, diagnosis, we're looking at reduction of symptoms as an example, and also relying heavily on medication, because the first thing that crosses our mind when we talk about mental health conditions is how do we treat a person that goes through a mental health condition. The first thing that pops up is medication, when in actual fact is a holistic approach to the recovery process. One of the harms of it is we overlook to the social determinants of mental health, right? So we're talking about housing, we're talking about education, we're talking about transportation, we're talking about social security. So all these things are important for people to go through their daily lives. And so when we talk about mental health, it's not just merely a healthcare issue, but it is a social justice issue. We're also looking at a lot of coercive practices and treatments are still practiced here in Malaysia. And this is also because we're not investing and we're not prioritizing mental health. And if we look at the health budget as an example, only 1+% goes to mental health, which 66%, a huge bulk of it, actually goes to the huge 4 psychiatric hospitals, right? Where there's a lot of coercion that happens, where we talk about, treatments that are forced, right? For example, restraints, or even being forced into taking medication as an example, or any sorts of treatment, or not even asking the person that is struggling with a mental health condition, what would they want in that recovery process. At MIASA, what we try to do is we champion the recovery model. We talk a lot about rights-based approach and also supported decision making. So providing that person the autonomy, that liberty, and that freedom in making that choice and that decision for themselves. So these are more of the pressing issues that we are looking at the moment. So we get this question a lot, especially because we're an NGO. Because a lot of times people think, oh, you're an NGO, hence you get, grants or funding from the government as an example. Well, this is really not true, because how we started off was really working really hard, right? And getting ourselves out there. So there was a lot of what I call bulldozing in the beginning when we started. And so diversifying the revenue streams means, yes, we do apply for grants, and these grants come from either foundations, it could be corporations that do CSR, it could also mean money or grants from the government as well, or ministry. So we do that, that's one part of it. 2 is we work really hard and we try to secure projects, not just within the mental health space, but outside as well. So that's how we are able to get some other revenue stream, and also through a lot of fundraising events. So we get sponsorship, we also get donations, and also from our services. So all our services for the B40 group are at no cost, so it's pro bono services. But those that belong from the M40 and T20 group, like how they pay, like how you guys pay for everything else, when you come to MIASA and subscribe to any of our services, you have to pay for it as well. And also we try to invest some of our money that are within our bank accounts, so that we're able to at least get some money moving or growing. We strive as much as possible to have a strong financial plan, right? So we've got our long-term and short-term goals intact. We know what we want to do, we know what our strategy is, and then we have our expenses and we have our revenue stream. And so what we do is we update that regularly, and then we table it to our board. We have discussions so that we're able to spend it, according to our means, and we're able to sustain the work that we do. And it's really not easy. We're really overstretched when we do this because, we've got our essential services that are at no cost. We're not financially independent because we don't have a regular stream of income. We need to help people, and our mission is to save lives, right? And help people and provide hope amidst all the uncertainties that are happening. So imagine having to do all this and having to sustain, these operations and the work that we do. So it's a lot of work, and we try to, again, diversify it as much as possible, and alhamdulillah, we've been successful so far. To say that we deserve this award isn't our place to say. When we first started this work, there was actually a lot of resistance from some of the mental health professionals group, and then I think on the other side was also a bunch of people that really didn't know what to make out of us because we are people with lived experience of a mental health condition. So we were the first one, and so when we came into the mental health space, coming with just our experience, bringing that onto the table, and also what we believed could help other people in that recovery process. So not necessarily just the clinical way, which is probably medication for some people or going through therapy, but it's more of a holistic approach to that recovery process. So anything that can potentially help a person in that recovery process, because it's not just going to the hospital, going to that clinic, and then you come home, and then what happens next? So it's that support system that you've got to build, right? So it could be your friends, it could be your colleagues, it could be an extended family member, it could be your own siblings or your parents. So talking a lot about finding that person or people that can potentially support that recovery process, and doing things that you find meaningful and rewarding, in that recovery process. So if you find reading a book helpful, then do that. Or if you find exercising to be helpful, something that you're passionate about, investing in hobbies, as an example, taking care of yourself. And we talk a lot about work-life balance as well, or integration, right? So you want to be able to take care of your sleep, you want to be able to eat well, eating on time, helping other people is a great thing. It induces a lot of good hormones, it helps to reduce stress. When you make other people happy, you feel happy, and you've got all these good hormones coming in. So a lot of these things. So this is one of the things that we talk a lot about, right? So not just about that holistic approach, but then also I think how we're different in the sense where we're uniquely positioned in Malaysia because we come from that peer approach, right? So having everything, from that peer perspective at the forefront is really what we strive to do, and bringing the voices of people with mental health conditions alive. And I think this is one, how we're unique. Two is from the perspective of a holistic way of helping people, right? Because a lot of times, again, when we talk about mental health, we always focus on mental health professionals, but at MIASA we talk a lot about empowering the community as a whole. And if you look at one of the gold standards, which is the Trieste model in Italy, right, where they empower the community to help. And it's so extraordinary looking at the work that they do, because they were able to close down mental institutions in the 1970s, where they doubled up investments, where they expanded community mental health services and support. And then what happened was, after that, they were able to reduce, the investments and able to expand it. It's 24/7 now. And what is amazing is they were able to reduce the suicide ratio by 50% for the past 20 years, guys. So 50%. If we are, given the opportunity to win this award, then I do feel that it will provide these voices that chance and opportunity to be heard and seen, which they rightfully deserve. I come from the corporate world, and I embarked into the social impact space 9 years ago. And this was because I was afflicted with a mental health condition 9 years ago, and it caught me. I mean, nobody is ready, right? When you're being afflicted with a mental health condition, it can potentially be extremely debilitating, especially if you lack the knowledge, you don't know where to seek for help, you don't know how to go through it, you don't have effective coping mechanisms, you don't understand what's happening to you, etc. So initially, I didn't realize that my experience in the corporate world potentially helped me helm this organization more effectively, because I brought that management strategy to the NGO world, which is really much needed, because that is how you're able to have a more solid, strong organizational structure, right? That's one. Two, what is really unique about MIASA is because you know how people with mental health conditions, because of the lack of knowledge of employers, they don't have a solid supportive environment in the workplace, that they are being denied job opportunities, right? People don't want to hire people with mental health conditions. So in contrary, at MIASA, we welcome, we celebrate, we love to hire people with mental health conditions. We at MIASA have benefited tremendously because of this, right? So we're able to reduce stigma, we're able to eliminate discrimination, we're able to shift perceptions and change attitudinal, behaviors, and people now have a better understanding. They now don't judge. Not only do they not judge people with mental health conditions, employees don't judge people that struggle with anything really, and we're able to create a work culture that prioritizes mental well-being and mental wellness. And I think, this is such a huge shift, especially when we talk about mental health in the workplace. And also we focus on the talents of our employees that might not, be given that opportunity, at other workplaces. Because when we look at a person with mental health challenges, usually they have other unique talents, and we amplify and magnify these talents as well within the workplaces. So if, as an example, they're good in singing or they're good in art, so we allow them and we empower them to use these talents for the greater good of the reduction of mental health stigma. So that's what we've done, and that's how this leadership is probably a little bit different than other places, I would say. The first thing is probably we work really hard. We work really hard to ensure that every person who comes through that door, who picks up that phone to call us or WhatsApp us, or who reaches out to us, that we're able to provide that help. But then we also want all of you to know that sometimes we might overlook things just because a lot of people reach out to us, especially during the pandemic. Just to give you some insights, during the first year alone, we had about more than 100,000 people. So that's a lot, right? Being an NGO, we're not like a huge hospital where, even hospitals, it's multidisciplinary at the end of the day. So imagine, that huge number coming to us. And so people are desperate, and we understand this. People need help, they need support. And sometimes we're not able to provide that support in a timely manner as well, or we're not able to provide solutions, although people sometimes want solutions as well. And sometimes, even though we're MIASA, we do reach a dead end. And I do feel that a lot of it boils down to also financials, right? We're not financially independent. We don't have the money to enable us to help everyone effectively in their recovery process. We would love to if we had the money and the resources, right? Because at the end of the day, money talks. We wish we're able to help, each and every single person, but even if we're not, we're able to channel you to other organizations or other places or other people that are able to do that. And I think one of the other things I want people to know is we strive as much as possible, and those of you that have followed us for many, many years know this. We strive to tell the truth every single time. And let me tell you guys, telling the truth isn't easy. It can potentially make us unpopular. There's potential backlashes when these happen, but it is crucial for change to happen is for you to tell the truth. And our intention is always so that change takes place. And I think what is important for all of us to know, saying I don't know is also part of knowledge. and also having that realization that maybe there is a better way at doing things. Maybe this is not the only way. Let's give this person or this organization a chance and opportunity to show us a different way or a better way of doing things, right? So don't limit yourself to just what you know at the current moment. And I know that a lot of people out there are hoping, for MIASA to be consistent, in our messaging. We have been consistent since day one, and there has been a lot of backlashes, especially when we started doing this work. There was some, resistance, especially from, some certain groups. And what has happened is, after a while, we do realize that the work has spoken for itself, and a lot of people are now understand this work that we're doing and are now helping us and supporting us in championing these various issues and causes. What we want ultimately to happen is enabling recovery for everyone and the opportunity for everyone to thrive despite their mental health condition. And it is possible if we all work together, because this must be a collective effort. And if we enable, the recovery process by focusing not just on mental health care or health care, but really on the social determinants of health and mental health. And if we do this, then recovery might just be possible for every single person, inshallah, one day.